Hey, brother, long time no talk. Hey, listen, I just want to run a couple things by you and ask you one or two serious questions. Okay, first off, the word yoga. Yoga means to yoke. But what are you yoking with? The idea is to combine with God. Yoking is a union with God. And here we can see one aspect of that is yoking the mind to source divinity. Alright, this all came from Hinduism. Yoga cannot be separated from Hinduism. It is part of Hinduism. It is a way to join with divinity. Right? That's its purpose. Okay, now how many gods are there? Hinduism has 330 million gods. Right? Which ones are you supposed to yoke with? For the most benefit in yoga? I don't know. But here's a couple. Do you want to yoke with any of these as a Christian? Do you want to yoke with any of these? Now it's recommended using this article as an example, 10 Hindu gods that you should know, that you should know as a yoga teacher. Brahma, yeah, okay. Vishnu, look at his hood of serpents. Do you want to yoke with this? Do you want to have union with this small g god, Vishnu? How about this one, Shiva? Look at the serpent necklace he's wearing. He's got the third eye open here. Do you want to yoke with that? Do you want to become part of that? Look back here in the back, the golden cow. Can you think of anyone else who worshipped the golden cow? Maybe in the book of Exodus? Right? God didn't look too highly on those people, did he? In fact, he told Moses he was going to destroy all of them. Do you want to yoke with this? Saraswati, Lakshmi. Look at this guy sitting on a lotus. Remind you of Buddhism, doesn't it? Got the hand mudras going on. Kali the Destroyer. Look. He's got the sword in his hand. He's got a man beheaded, right? You're to third eye. A necklace made of heads. You're to yoke with this. Standing on a corpse. You see this? The serpent. The bowl of blood. Do you want to yoke with this? Union. Yoga. Yoking. Combining with this. Alright? This is all from Hinduism. Who also came from India? I know you know this guy, Bodhidharma. He's supposed to be the father of the Shaolin martial arts, right? And he also brought Buddhism to China. But if you remember, as his name Dao Mo, he's the one that taught. He faced the cave for X amount of years and taught the Shaolin monks their powers and their exercises. Remember the bone changing classics? Right? Bodhidharma, another Indian who grew up worshipping one or all of these 330 million gods, right? Bodhidharma, the Indian that came to China to teach Kung Fu. Well, anyhow, so I came across this article. I don't know if you ever heard of this guy, Derek Prince. He's a pastor. If you ever looking to hear someone give some good sermons, he's actually a pretty good preacher. But anyhow, here's an article that mentions him. Well, first off, let me read this to you. Martial arts says, martial arts are more than a system of fighting. It's a spiritual exercise, and you know it is. Especially when you get into Qigong and all those elements, you know for sure that it's a spiritual exercise. But what spirit are you exercising? You get it, brother? Anyhow, it continues. It says, all martial arts trace their roots to the Shaolin Temple of China, a Buddhist temple. And who do we learn? Bodhidharma, right? Came from him, from India. Hinduism, 330 million gods, all right? It says, the underlying philosophy is that God is an energy force. That's all you hear in Qigong is energy. It says, and through occult science, one can be united with the divine energy. Here we're looking at a yoking again. Students always begin with the basics, but as they progress, they become exposed to Far East mysticism and occultism. Now look, you know in your own walk that you've been exposed to this stuff. I heard come out of your mouth that there's some practices even you won't do as a Christian. But the fact is, I mean, you're dining with the devil and you're praying to God all with the same mouth. So, and it goes on to say, they're trained to strive for secret knowledge that will lead to supernormal powers and abilities. Isn't that the reason for doing the Qigong, is to gain supernatural powers and abilities? Where are you getting these abilities from? Where are they coming from? And you know, just to go back to the comment you made about some practices you won't even do, you know, they're all from the same source. So why you would choose to do one and not the other, you know, you have to ask yourself why. Listen, and I know it's hard. It took me a long time. I was in martial arts my entire life. When I told you in 2018 that I was giving it up and I left the group shortly after that, 2020 I think is what it was, to be honest with you. Whatever it was, you know, when I left the group, I told you I was giving martial arts up. And man, God's been revealing a lot to me since then because of that. A lot of good. So I'm really just here to plant seeds. Anyhow, getting back to that pastor, Derek Prince, he wrote another potential door opener for demons. This was during deliverance, some deliverance he was doing. He learned this. Another potential door opener for demons is involvement in the martial arts. Ruth and I, that's his wife, Ruth and I ministered to a man who had excelled in karate. After a deliverance session, he discovered, to his surprise, that he could no longer do the karate kick. He'd not realized that his ability came from a demon. We need to bear in mind that all martial arts originated in cultures permeated with idolatry and demonic activity. Idolatry. Look, man. Look. Idolatry. 330 million gods. So, you know, you got to ask yourself, how did he get his skill doing these? You know, when he progressed, how did he get these skills from a martial art? And why did he lose them when he got delivered from the demon? Look, let's hear it. Let's listen to Master Al. Let's listen to it in his own words. What did Master Al think about this?
Go ahead. Inhale, going down. Exhale. Let me say this in the middle of the video, by the way. The Qigong, all the great internal fighters will tell you their great fighting abilities came from Qigong, period. Nothing else should be said.
Okay, so you just heard it from Al there. All the great internal fighters' skill came from Qigong, period. Now listen, brother, you got to ask yourself, how can breathing a certain type of breath give you a learned skill? There's no consciousness in that breath, right? But spirits have consciousness. Spirits have consciousness. Not the air that you're breathing in, but those postures, as in yoga, are yoking you to a specific spirit, which has consciousness, which brings the skills with it when you do the exercises and the breathing to take them in. I know it seems strange, but look, when I used to do witchcraft, and you can't deny the power of witchcraft because it works. This was years ago. This was before I ever met Al. This was from the first witchcraft book I ever had, and this is called the Star Position. And if you look, you just stand there, one palm faces up, one palm faces down. And this was witchcraft, and the idea of this was to absorb the earth energy and to absorb the cosmic energy, right? And it was called the Star Position. But take it one step further. Now what's the difference? This was witchcraft in a witchcraft book. And here's the first Qigong exercise that I learned from Al. You see a difference? The difference is both palms face down. Now you can't say, well, it's okay because both palms face down. No, how else could you justify it? It's the same pose, it's the same posture, and it's the same source, right? What Al's doing, and I know Al loved Jesus, but the book tells you, my people suffer from a lack of knowledge. He didn't know what he was doing, let's put it that way. He had devoted so much time into this stuff that his love of Christ didn't take him away from it. So I was listening to a preacher talk about the Old Testament the other day, and this has been quite a few weeks ago now, and I got to it got me interested in Samaria, so I started doing some research on Samaria. And one of the goddesses, in Qigong, you're taking in earth energy, right? And you're also taking in elementals, fire and wind, water, all that stuff. But earth energy is one of the important ones, right? You're supposed to be, it's better to do it barefoot, stand on the ground, take in earth energies. But are you taking in energies or entities, right? Because you're always on the earth, so why doesn't it just affect you just being on the earth? No, but you hold a certain posture. You do a certain yoke from the posture, and you get a certain reaction, a certain result, right? So in Samaria, they used to have the goddess of the earth, and guess what her name was? Sumerian gods. These are 4 of the deities. The goddess of the earth is Ki. You recognize Ki? Right? In Japan, that's Ki from Aikido, right? Or in Chinese, it's Qi, or spell it with Qi, Qi from Qigong or Qigong. The goddess of the earth energy or earth entity named Ki or Qi was worshipped in Samaria. And you're calling it a breathing exercise. Alright, brother, I guess, like I said, the point of this whole thing is just to plant some seeds and to get you thinking, right? Cognitive dissonance is tough. So I just want you to think this through and get you thinking about this. How does breathing produce a new skill? How does breathing produce a new skill? We all breathe, right? We all breathe. Why don't we just acquire new abilities all the time? We all stand on the earth, but do we gain earth energy? No. We all live under the cosmos, but do we all draw cosmic forces? Of course not. Oops, let's see here. Sorry about that. We must combine a posture, a shape power, right? These entities, these energies are attached to certain shapes, and that's why the yoga was so important. That's why you see them so contorted and twisted, because these are the earthbound spirits of the Nephilim that are pretending to be gods and goddesses. And they were all unnatural and morbid. And so these unnatural shapes give them something to cling onto, something to hook into. I don't exactly know how it works, but trust me, that's the gist. We must combine a posture with the breath and yoke, right? And join with specific entity that these arts call energy. I mean, ask it again. How does breathing produce new skills? And you know the answer is that it doesn't. So pray in this, brother. See what God reveals to you about it. I love you, man. I'm just trying to plant some seeds and get you to open your eyes, because like I said, God's really been revealing some stuff to me. So, and I haven't heard from you in 5 or 6 months, so just wanted to check in and drop these seeds, brother. Take care. I love you.